expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with...
When the ultimate power players in professional basketball decide to step in, it means something massive has gone down behind the scenes. For months, the entire sports world watched as a single player transformed an entire league overnight, shattering attendance records, breaking television ratings, and driving hundreds of millions of dollars into an industry that had been starving for mainstream attention. But behind that incredible rise lay a dark, uncomfortable tension that threatened to burn the whole thing down. Hard hits went uncalled, tension boiled over on the court, and an unspoken war erupted between the established old guard and the blockbuster future of the sport. Everyone knew a breaking point was coming, but nobody expected it to happen like this. The moment Stephanie White made her next move, the entire hierarchy shifted, forcing NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and league executives to make a brutal, game-changing decision that nobody saw coming. It all started when Stephanie White dropped a bombshell that caught rival franchises completely off guard. After leading the Connecticut Sun to back-to-back deep playoff runs, White made the shocking choice to step away and accept the head coaching position for the Indiana Fever. On the surface, taking over a young team featuring a generational superstar sounds like an easy decision. But inside league circles, people knew this wasn't just a simple coaching change. White didn't just accept a job. She took command of the single most scrutinized team in modern basketball history. She saw how Indiana had operated during Caitlin Clark's rookie season, a season filled with historic stats, but also marked by chaotic coaching, inconsistent lineups, and an alarming lack of physical protection on the court. White knew that if she was going to take this job, things had to change immediately, and she wasn't about to play nice with anyone who stood in her way. To truly understand why White's hiring triggered such a massive executive response, you have to look back at the chaos of Caitlin Clark's rookie campaign. From the very first week of her professional career, Clark was targeted in ways the league had never seen before. Opposing defenses didn't just play her tight. They hit her hard, shoved her after the whistle, and tested her patience at every single turn. Week after week, viral clips swept across social media showing non-calls on obvious fouls that left fans, analysts, and media executives completely baffled. While veteran players argued that this was simply welcome to the league physicality, the sheer intensity of the targeting felt personal to millions of viewers. Indiana's former coaching staff often sat by quietly, offering little public defense or tactical protection for their franchise asset. That passive approach created a powder keg that was bound to explode sooner or later. When Stephanie White officially walked through the doors in Indiana, her first order of business was making it clear that the era of passive coaching was officially over. White came in with a direct tactical vision, designed to completely revolutionize how the Fever operated around Clark. She publicly praised Clark's court vision and shooting range, but behind closed doors, she began restructuring the team's entire identity. White demanded faster transition sets, sharper spacing, and most importantly, a roster composed of physical players who would not allow their star point guard to be bullied on the floor. She made it crystal clear that if an opposing player tried to send a message to Clark, Indiana would send a much louder message right back. That aggressive shift in philosophy sent a direct message to every other head coach across the sport, proving that Indiana was no longer going to be a pushover. While White was busy drawing up new playbooks and establishing a brutal new culture in Indiana, panic was quietly building at the highest levels of executive management. You see, the financial reality of modern women's basketball is deeply tied to the NBA umbrella, with Adam Silver and league decision-makers keeping a very close eye on the sport's explosive valuation. The newly signed multi-billion-dollar media rights deals were negotiated largely on the back of unprecedented viewership numbers, driven directly by Clark's presence. Broadcast executives were making it known in private meetings that they could not afford to see their primary ratings draw knocked out with an injury because of unchecked non-calls or escalating physical altercations. The league was walking a tightrope between preserving traditional, physical basketball and protecting the multi-million-dollar engine driving their sudden economic boom. That was when the hammer officially dropped from the top. Seeing the aggressive tone set by Stephanie White's arrival and recognizing the volatile situation brewing on the court, Adam Silver and high-level basketball operations officials took decisive action. Behind closed doors, directives were issued regarding officiating accountability and game management standards. Referees were given strict orders to review potentially hostile contact much more aggressively, with zero tolerance for non-basketball plays or targeted escalation. Furthermore, whispers circulating through league circles revealed that heavy financial penalties and swift suspension protocols would be enforced for any repeated non-basketball hits aimed at high-profile players. It was a firm, uncompromising stance designed to restore order, but to many around the sport, it felt like a heavy-handed intervention that favored one specific team over the rest. The reaction to this administrative clampdown was instant and fiery. Opposing coaches, rival players, and longtime league critics were infuriated by what they viewed as special treatment and corporate interference. Several veteran figures voiced frustration, arguing that the sport's identity was being watered down to protect a single player, while ignoring the physical battles that defined previous eras. Social media erupted into heated debates, with traditionalists claiming the league was playing favorites, while millions of new fans celebrated the long-overdue protection of elite talent. Rival teams immediately began adjusting their defensive schemes, realizing they could no longer rely on intimidating tactics without facing severe immediate consequences from both the referees and Stephanie White's newly fortified roster. Despite the friction and outrage from rival markets, the stage has now been set for one of the most intense, high-stakes seasons in modern sports history. Stephanie White has successfully put the entire league on notice, establishing an environment where Caitlin Clark can flourish without constantly looking over her shoulder. With an elite head coach orchestrating the offense, a team built to fight back, and league officials keeping a watchful eye from above, the Indiana Fever are no longer just a fun story. They are a legitimate powerhouse preparing to dominate. The rest of the league might not like the new reality, but the rules of engagement have permanently changed, and anyone trying to test Indiana's resolve is going to learn that lesson the hard way. What started as a contentious rookie season, filled with debate and physical conflict, has officially evolved into a full-scale tactical Cold War across professional basketball. Stephanie White's fearless leadership, paired with Adam Silver's uncompromising mandate, has forced every single franchise to adapt or get left behind in this high-powered new era. The traditional playbook on how to handle transcendent talent has been completely rewritten, leaving critics and rivals scrambling to find answers. As the countdown to the new season begins, one fundamental question remains for everyone watching. Will this hardline stance create a safer, more explosive game for the fans? Or has it created an unstoppable force in Indiana that no team in the league will ever be able to slow down? The ripple effects of these moves extend far beyond the boundaries of a single basketball court, completely altering the landscape of sports entertainment and executive governance. For years, executive boards struggled to find the right balance between maintaining raw athletic competition and building a lucrative, highly marketable global brand. By taking such a direct stance following Stephanie White's hiring, leadership proved that when massive cultural shifts collide with corporate investments, the rules will always be rewritten to protect the future. This wasn't just about one coach or one star player. It was a clear declaration that the old ways of doing business are dead and buried. Inside locker rooms across the league, player unions and veteran leaders began holding private discussions about how to navigate this strict new landscape. Many players who built their reputations on hard-nosed, physical defense suddenly found themselves wondering how they could effectively guard a player like Clark without running the risk of instant whistles, flagrant upgrades, or league fines. The psychological edge that veteran teams once held over young rosters has effectively been neutralized by league mandates and Stephanie White's uncompromising presence. Defensive coordinators are now forced to go back to the drawing board, searching for legal, disciplined ways to contain an elite scorer who now operates with absolute protection. Meanwhile, in Indiana, the energy surrounding the franchise has reached a fever pitch that hasn't been seen in decades. Ticket sales have shattered historic marks once again. Corporate sponsorships are pouring in at record rates, and practice facility vibes have shifted from quiet optimism to intense, championship-focused urgency. Stephanie White has transformed the facility culture, instilling a relentless work ethic and an aggressive mindset that matches her own competitive nature. Players who previously looked hesitant on the floor are now playing with newfound confidence, knowing their head coach has their backs both in the locker room and in front of the world press. The relationship between Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark has quickly become the most fascinating dynamic in all of women's basketball. White, a former star player and championship-winning coach, understands the immense pressure that comes with carrying the weight of an entire sport on one's shoulders. She knows how to talk to Clark, not just as an instructor, but as someone who has walked the walk at the highest levels. This mutual respect has allowed Clark to refine her game, focusing less on navigating non-calls and referee frustration, and more on mastering floor vision, defensive reads, and high-octane scoring. The results during closed workouts have reportedly been terrifying for anyone who has to match up against them. As rival franchises watch Indiana's rapid transformation, panic is beginning to set in for front offices that failed to make big moves during the offseason. Teams that once dominated the standings through sheer physical strength and veteran intimidation are realizing that their window of dominance might be slamming shut much faster than anticipated. The speed, skill, and executive protection surrounding the Fever's core have forced opposing general managers to completely rethink their roster construction strategies. If you can't keep up with the pace, and you aren't allowed to slow the game down with heavy contact, you simply cannot survive in this new environment. Beyond the tactical adjustments, the media narrative surrounding the league has taken a dramatic turn that broadcast networks are eagerly capitalizing on. Viewership metrics for upcoming matchups are projected to hit historic heights, as fans tune in not just to see incredible basketball, but to witness the drama, tension, and intense rivalries playing out on live television. Every hard foul, every technical whistle, and every post-game press conference will now be dissected by millions of eager viewers looking to see if the new mandate holds firm under pressure. The sport has officially crossed over into the realm of hyper-engaging, must-watch global entertainment. As game day approaches, the silence from rival camps speaks volumes about the tension gripping the entire sport. Coaches who once offered outspoken critiques of Clark's star treatment have suddenly gone quiet, knowing that every public statement is being carefully monitored by executive leadership. The stage is set, the lines have been drawn, and the battle lines are clearer than they have ever been before. Stephanie White has laid down the challenge, Adam Silver has set the boundaries, and Caitlin Clark is ready to run the floor with complete freedom. This extraordinary moment in sports history serves as a powerful reminder of what happens when generational talent meets fearless leadership at the executive level. The path forward will undoubtedly be filled with intense battles, heated arguments, and unprecedented public scrutiny. But one thing is absolutely indisputable: the game will never be the same again. Whether rivals adapt to this fierce new reality or crumble under the pressure of Indiana's fast-paced reign, the entire sports world will be watching every single second of the journey unfold. The true impact of this shift will be tested the very first time an opponent tests the league's resolve during a high-stakes, nationally televised game. When that inevitable hard contact occurs, millions of eyes will immediately look to the referees, the opposing bench, and Stephanie White's sideline reaction to see who blinks first. That single moment will define the trajectory of the sport for years to come, proving whether the league's brutal new directives are a temporary fix or the permanent foundation of a brand new basketball empire. Looking at the bigger picture, this situation highlights a fascinating evolution in how modern professional sports leagues manage their most valuable assets. In decades past, young superstars were routinely subjected to brutal physical initiation rituals, often left to fend for themselves, while referees let the veterans dictate the terms of engagement. But in today's multi-billion-dollar sports ecosystem, where individual superstars drive global engagement, streaming subscriptions, and international broadcast deals, the old-school approach is simply bad business. By taking a proactive, hardline approach, executive management made a calculated bet that protecting the integrity and safety of elite playmakers will yield far greater long-term rewards than letting vintage rivalries devolve into chaotic altercations. For Stephanie White, this high-stakes environment is exactly where she thrives as a leader. Throughout her basketball career, whether as a stellar collegiate performer, a disciplined professional, or an elite strategist on the sidelines, White has always embraced moments of maximum pressure. She didn't take the Indiana job to play it safe or build a polite, respectable program over 5 years. She took it to win immediately and assert absolute dominance over the competition. Her willingness to step directly into the spotlight and challenge the league's status quo has earned her fierce loyalty from her locker room and massive respect from analysts across the sporting world. As for Caitlin Clark, the upcoming season represents an opportunity to elevate her game to levels previously thought impossible. Unburdened by constant physical intimidation and supported by a head coach who actively constructs tactical schemes to maximize her strengths, Clark is poised to break even more historic records. The mental energy that was once drained by navigating constant non-calls can now be funneled entirely into terrifying defenses, with deep logo three-pointers, precise full-court passes, and relentless transition scoring. Opposing teams aren't just facing a talented player anymore. They are facing a fully unlocked generational phenom, operating within an optimized system. The ripples are also being felt across the sports business world, where agents, brand managers, and corporate sponsors are closely monitoring how this situation unfolds. Major global brands are pouring unprecedented financial resources into women's basketball, capitalizing on the massive, diverse, and highly engaged audience that Clark and the Fever bring to the table. When league executives make decisions that safeguard these investments, it signals to the broader corporate world that the league is a stable, highly lucrative partner capable of delivering massive returns. This economic momentum ensures that player salaries, facility upgrades, and team travel amenities will continue to rapidly improve across the board. Yet, despite the massive financial wins and positive structural changes, the underlying competitive friction remains red-hot. Rival players who spent years building the league's foundation through grit, sacrifice, and unheralded physical battles still feel a deep sense of pride in their style of play. They aren't going to simply step aside and allow Indiana to walk away with trophies without putting up a fierce fight within the rules. This deep-seated competitive pride guarantees that every single game on the schedule will be played with an intense, playoff-like energy. creating a thrilling environment for fans worldwide. In the end, the brutal decisions, high-level interventions, and bold coaching moves have combined to create a perfect storm of drama and athletic excellence. The sport stands at the absolute pinnacle of global attention, with an unstoppable narrative that captured the imagination of casual viewers and die-hard fans alike. As the bright lights turn on and the opening tip-off approaches, the time for talk, speculation, and executive posturing is officially over. The court is ready, the players are focused, and a historic new chapter is about to be written in real time. When the history books reflect on this dramatic era, Stephanie White's move to Indiana and the league's swift executive response will likely be remembered as the exact turning point that propelled the sport into its golden age. It proved that leadership isn't about avoiding conflict, but about making tough, uncompromising choices that elevate the game to new heights. The future of basketball has arrived, and it is fast, protective, explosive, and completely captivating. As the final preparations are made and teams take the court, one ultimate truth remains crystal clear for everyone involved. The stakes have never been higher, the world has never been more attentive, and the journey ahead promises to be an extraordinary ride that nobody will ever forge.